Good evening, everybody! Welcome to round 12 of our 1991 F1 series, coming to you from Monza in Italy. I am Jason White. I will be your play-by-play announcer for this event. Drivers are currently in their warm-up session, getting used to full fuel loads and the tires they'll be using. Let me run down the top 10 for you in qualifying as time expired. No big surprise here, but on the pole, Ray Radal in his Williams Renault with a time of 1 minute 23.334. In second, 9/10 of a second back, Jules Bouchard in his McLaren. Third, David Saber in the first of the Ferraris. Fourth, Giovanni Santarami. Fifth, John Team. Sixth, Richard Wilkes, who you're watching on camera right now in the other Ferrari. Seventh, Cesare Slapinski. Eighth, Anders Nilsson. Ninth, Gabriel Del Piccolo. And 10th, Brian Janik. That's your top 10 in qualifying prior to the start of this Italian Grand Prix. So here we are at one of the true temples of speed, Monza. It's a place where these drivers and their cars can really stretch their legs and explore the outer limits of terminal velocity, which is always a lot of fun. But the obvious asterisk next to that description comes in the form of several chicanes, which you see on your screen right now, punctuating the track, and they're of course designed to slow the cars down. So our drivers don't only have to be very quick in a straight line, but they also have to be very precise when they're negotiating these pinch points. They have to be careful not to hit the tire stacks, and they have to be getting through them, each of these chicanes, as cleanly as possible. If they can get them through there cleanly, then that will translate into a better lap time. If you lose time in there, if you bog down too much, if you don't use the right line, it will definitely cost you. So the chicanes will be a definite factor as much as the terminal velocity. And the other thing, of course, you have to maintain mental concentration throughout the race. So, coming up in these chicanes we saw during the Hockenheim race, mental strain takes its toll, and sometimes people just run into tire stacks because they've lost the ability to concentrate. So definitely something to keep in mind in this race. This is solid Ferrari country, so the obvious favorites for the race will be David Saber and Richard Wilkes. We'll see if they can delight the Tifosi with a win, or maybe even a 1-2 this evening. That remains to be seen. Saber certainly has a great chance when he's starting in third, and Wilkes is starting sixth, so if they have good starts, they might see a good outcome, and of course having that 12-cylinder power, it doesn't hurt at all. So let's take a look at the point standings going into today's race. Drivers' points first. Ray Radal is commanding in the drivers' points with a 72-point tally. Next down on the list is Anders Nilsson with 47, so that gulf between first and second is increasing. So if Anders wants to do anything about the championship fight, he's got to start racking up great performances. Not that he hasn't been to this point, but he's got to really take the fight to Ray. In third is Jules Bouchard with 30 points. Fourth, Giovanni Santarami with 19 points, and then 18.5 points for Cesare Slapinski. In the constructors' standings, Cannon Williams' team is on top with 77 points on the strength of all of the finishes they've had so far. Team 7-Up Jordan is in second with 55 points. Third is Scuderia Italia with 29, and then we have a tie for fourth place. This shows the ascendance of McLaren as a dominant force in the series. McLaren and Braun Tyrrell Honda are tied for fourth at 28 points. So why don't we go out on the track while we have a moment here, and let's see if we can catch somebody in the middle of a lap, or preferably at the end of a lap, because then we can follow them around the circuit. Okay. Let's see, who is this exactly? This is Slapinski. All right. So Slapinski coming out of the Parabolica, and he's going to take us around a lap here at Monza, exiting the Parabolica, now onto the main straight. Very, very quick here. And you can see Ray Radal's actually right next to him here, trying to overtake him. But as they come down here, right when they reach the 100 meter mark, they're downshifting for these two chicanes, the Variante di Rettifilo, accelerating out of that corner, now into the Curva Grande. Heading to the right, building speed. And now under a bridge coming up to the Variante della Roggia. Left, right. Notice the tire stacks. This is stuff we'll have to be careful about, or they'll have to be careful about throughout the race. They'll have to pay very, very close attention. Now the Lesmo curves. Number 1, and a short little straight between number 1 and number 2 Lesmo. Number 2 Lesmo is the faster of the two. Now heading through this wooded section underneath the oval, which is not used anymore, of course, and now into the Ascari chicane. Kind of an interesting chicane. Heads back to the left, then to the right. You build speed. It's very, very easy to run off here onto the right. You don't want to do that. And now we're heading down what would universally be called the back straightaway. Actually, oh my goodness! It looks like there was a collision there between Schlipinski and Ray Radal. Yeah. But there goes Nilsson, and he's entering the Parabolica, which is the end of the lap. So we weren't expecting that, but that basically gives you an idea of what this track is like. It appears that Grant Radal has joined the fray. There was a question as to whether he would be able to attend tonight's race, but it appears that he's here. So we got 11 minutes to go. Let's see if we can hook up to one more person here who's doing a lap, or just about to finish one. Okay, here's Johnny Aces. We don't ride with a Kalani too often. Let's see, or a Coloni, sorry. It's not Luigi Colani, it's Coloni. All right, exiting the Parabolica. Here we go for a lap in the Coloni Ford. You see the start-finish line now. So the lap has begun, heading down to the first chicane. Jonathan's braking. First one's a left-right, then another left-right, so there's double chicanes here. Now accelerating towards Curva Grande. Sweeping towards the right. Ooh, he caught a bit of the curb there. And now we come to the Variante della Roggia, a left-right. Oh my goodness, there's a car. Oh, well, I guess we're not going to get a complete lap of this one. Well, you saw the track, you saw what goes on, but that's an example, too, of what can happen if someone has an accident in front of you at a chicane. You basically have nowhere to go. So, for Jonathan there, that was not a pleasant outcome. One thing that I would like to bring to everybody's attention before we get too far into the broadcast, an important announcement regarding the league itself. Our ISO server renewal is coming up on December 1st, 2024. And as most of you know, we are not a profit-making league. We're not for profit, and we rely entirely on donations to keep our server running each year. So if you enjoy racing at ISO, if you enjoy watching our broadcasts, if you enjoy our podcast content, whatever your level of involvement with us is, we'd like you to please consider donating to help us renew our server for the 2025 season. We've had some donations up till this point, but we really do need some support. We're not quite at the goal we need to renew the server for 2025. We still have a ways to go, so any help at all would be very, very appreciated. And it's easy to do. All you have to do is go to our main website, internationalsimracing.org, and you will find on the main header there, encircled in red, a donate tab. You click that and it'll take you to a PayPal donate page. And whatever you can give, $5, $10, $20, $50, $100, whatever you feel comfortable giving, every little bit is going to help us get to our goal of renewing the server for 2025. So we thank you for your continued support of International Sim Racing Organization, and whatever you can do to help us secure the server for the next season will be greatly appreciated. So that's the end of my little PSA. Thanks so much to everybody. Let's go back to the track. Maybe we can get a lap in here with Jonathan. Let's give it a shot. He doesn't have anybody around him this time, so. All right, heading out of the Parabolica. Now on to the main straight. Okay. Heading down the main straight now, starting the lap. And now heading down to the first set of chicanes, the Rettifilio chicane. Oh, he got his tire on the right curb there. Yeah, you got to be really careful decelerating for these. And now out of the second part of that chicane, now accelerating towards Curva Grande. Right-hand sweep. Under this bridge and now into the Variante della Roggia. Right, and now into the Lesmo turns. First Lesmo number 1, which is a bit tighter than Lesmo number 2. Oh my goodness, he's on the grass here, but I think he'll be able to recover. There he goes, very well done, Jonathan. Lesmo number 2, now accelerating, heading downhill here towards the bridge that is actually part of the oval section, the speed bowl, under the Renault 21 sign, and now into the Ascari chicane, left, a long right, and now whipping it back to the left, doing your best to not fade to the right. Now onto the back straight, under the Lancia Delta Bridge, and now heading towards probably the most famous corner on this track, Curva Parabolica. Decelerating here, and it unwinds as you come out of the turn. Gets faster and faster and faster. On the left is where the speed bowl merges with the road course. And now we're into the stadium section here, and that is another lap of Monza, this time on board with Johnny Aces. Engines are going to be pushed to the absolute limit here, of course, so we may see some engine failures, and that might give some people who don't have the horsepower, i.e. Jonathan, to qualify high up the grid. It might lend it, what's the word I'm looking for? The attrition might end up putting some people up the order that we would not expect. But in any case, we'll see how that goes. I believe that J Racer on our YouTube channel is referring to the new versions of Silverstone built by Martin Lucena. Yeah, he put in a lot of work on that. Started way back in late 2023, and we did use it for the Silverstone race, and it was really great. I hope we'll get to use that for a lot of other events. I think we'll be able to use it for our British Touring Car Championship, perhaps, for the shortened version of Silverstone. But we'll see how that goes. Actually, that reminds me, coming up at ISO, I got to go through this. The Gran Premio de Portugal takes place on Sunday, October 27th. This is round 13 of 16, and it starts at 2000 CET. Put stars around it there. We're going back to regular European time. Summertime will be over on that day. So for those of you who are in the United States, the race will be starting an hour later than normal, I believe. And then also coming up, we talked about the Touring Car Championship for a second, another DHL International race day. This is round 12 of 13. I believe this one's at Silverstone, a shortened version of it. Sunday, November 3rd. God, we're getting right to the end of 2024 here. Race start will be, again, at 2000 CET, because summertime is over. So there you go. Trivia question for you to ponder during the race. Which of the following Italian circuits has never hosted the Italian Grand Prix? Is it A, Verano, B, Milan, or C, Turin? We'll have the answer for you later on in the broadcast. Now, so the obvious headline for this race is Ray Riddall. Can he keep going? Can he keep extending his points lead? Because he just seems unstoppable. He's won 4 races so far in this year, and he just seems like he's just going to keep going and going and going. The one person that is in a good position to do something about it would be Nilsson, but he's got quite a gap that he has to make up. So you start to wonder who else might be a challenger for the championship, and one that you might think of would be Jules Bouchard, who is now 3rd, but he's still way back. It may be a case of too little too late for the rest of the drivers. You know, from a broadcasting point of view, I hope that's not the case, because you like to see the championship decided at the last race if possible, because it's a lot of fun and exciting. But in any case, something to think about. Obviously, Ferraris, we're going to be keeping our eye on Saber and Richard Wilkes in this race to see if they can score a Ferrari win on home soil. That would be fantastic. Of course, the 1991 Ferrari was a good car, but not good enough compared to Williams and the McLaren. In fact, the oft-repeated quote with Ferrari, they would say through 91, 92, 93, they would say, Ferrari hasn't won since Alain Prost won in Spain in 1990. And they would just keep repeating that over and over and over again. So, and there have been Ferrari wins this season, and most notably David Saber scored a win. I believe he scored a win during our shortened Belgian Grand Prix. But it still counts, even though it was for half points. So, we'll see how this race goes. How much time do we have now? Let's see here. 1 minute, 20 seconds until the start of the race. And here we see the cars and how they stack up for at least the warm-up. It appears that Grant Riddall is the fastest on the track right now in his Tyrrell, so that's good. We'll have to keep an eye on him at the start of the race. It's hard to do, and we're also looking at the very front. He's not going to be qualifying up near the front, so at least I don't believe he is, so we'll have to keep an eye on him. Del Piccolo driving a Minardi here. Obviously, this is another favorite because it's running last year's Ferrari engine. And you can see Ray Riddall back there. He's practicing starts. And other people are on the apron over there. Very important to practice starts, especially before a Grand Prix race. I always practice starts before the British touring car races because I find it helps me get off the line as best I can. All right, so if I were predicting who was going to win this race, I would probably say it's going to be Ray Riddall, just based on what's been going on. But in any case, we go to 0 here, and very quickly we're going to be going to the race session. I'll walk you through the grid, and then we'll be taking, I believe, 53 laps around this circuit for the race. We'll see as soon as it switches over to the race session. I'll just look at the map. 53 laps around the Monza circuit. 5.8 kilometer road circuit. So we're going to be going just a little over 307 kilometers. 307.4 to be exact. All right, so hopefully we're going to the race session here. A little bit of a lag in the click over. There it is. 53 laps on the board. And we're waiting for the drivers to assume their positions on the grid. And once they do, we will take you through the grid itself. There's our pole sitter right there, Ray Riddall. So we're waiting for the rest of the drivers to get on board. They don't want to wait too long out here and their engine's getting hot. So some people wait until the very last minute to join the grid. All right, waiting here for everybody to join. Wonder if there's some kind of technical difficulty. This is a long hold. Here come the others. Okay. And you start to wonder about Ray sitting on the grid for that long, stationary, but he knows what he's doing, I'm sure. All right, so here we go. Cars are in position. You can see the two Ferraris there starting 3rd and 6th. And away we go on the parade lap, or the sighting recon lap. On the pole, Ray Riddall, Williams Renault FW14. In 2nd, Jules Bouchard, McLaren Honda MP46. 3rd, David Saber, Forza Italia in the Ferrari 643. In 4th, Giovanni Centorami, Tyrrell Honda 020. In 5th is John Team in the 2nd McLaren. 6th, Richard Wilkes in the second Ferrari. 7th, Cesare Lipinski in the Minardi Ferrari. 8th is Anders Nilsson in the Jordan Ford. 9th, Gabriel Del Piccolo, Minardi Ferrari. 10th is Brian Janik, Delara Judd, D191. 11th, Ruben Fernandez, Leighton House Ilmore. 12th, Nicholas Kirsten, Jordan Ford. 13th, Juha Bos, Benetton Ford. 14th, Mikael Drexler in the other Williams Renault. 15th, David Wattman in a Ligier Lamborghini. We got 2 Ligier Lamborghinis in this race, so maximum Italian engine involvement here, which is great. Gilles Taux did not make it out of the pit lane, unfortunately, so he will start dead last, even though he's slotted in 16th on the grid. 17th is Grant Riddall in his Tyrrell Honda. 18th, Peter Hlavich in the Footwork Hart. 19th, Simon Wattman in the other Ligier Lamborghini. So the Wattmans are teaming up with the Ligiers. I'm sure they're sharing a lot of information. 20th, Francisco Amaral makes a guest appearance in the other Leighton House Ilmore. 21st is Bruno Chacon in his Benetton Ford. And 22nd, and I believe the last car on the grid, is Jonathan Asselklint in the Kalani Ford C4. So we have 22 cars to start this race, a little less involvement than we're used to seeing, but in any case, you can see the cars weaving back and forth. There's some drivers trying to put some heat in their tires before they start the race. Of course, the critical thing will be to get away from the starting grid quickly, but also all these cars rushing down to the first chicane. There's a potential for lost parts or wheels. Some kind of melee could occur there. We hope it does not, but everybody clamoring to get through that corner and trying to get an advantage on somebody, there's always the danger that something will go wrong. We hope that that does not happen. Here they come to the main straight. You can see the speed bowl back there. Ray Riddall spools up his rear tires. So does David Saber. They're trying to get some heat in them by doing a little bit of a burnout, not unlike a drag racer, but a little bit less, dramatic. And here they come to the starting grid. On the right is Ray Riddall with the pole-sitting time of 1 minute 23.334. And alongside him, Jules Bouchard, 9/10 of a second back. So we're waiting for the start now. Watch for the name to flicker and you'll know that we're under starter's orders. Other cars slotting in at the back here. And then once they're all in place, we'll be given starter's orders. There they are. Stand by for the start of the Italian Grand Prix. And the race is underway. Ray gets away excellent. Looks like a little bit of a log jam there. Oh my goodness, there are cars running into each other. It looks like a Tyrrell back there with a Ferrari, but look at the jump that Ray has gotten. Ray leads into the chicane. Bouchard second, team is third. Oh my goodness, Richard Wilkes runs across the gravel there. And even though there was contact, it appears there are no pieces missing, so it looks as if we got through relatively well. Ray Riddall leading. The 2 McLarens of Bouchard and team are in second and third. That appears to be Centorami back there in fourth into the second chicane, but Ray did exactly what he wanted to do. He had an excellent exit from the starting grid, and he's already pouring it on. Look at him go. Here are the 2 McLarens, Bouchard and team in second and third. Fourth is Del Piccolo. Fifth, with a great start, up 6 positions, is Ruben Fernandez. Fantastic. Wilkes, we've got to wonder if he's got some kind of damage. He is being stalked right now by Grant Riddall in the Tyrrell as they come down to the Ascari chicane. And he runs off on the gravel again, and another contact. And there goes Grant Riddall. Watch out, coming back on the circuit, and everybody has to take evasive action. My goodness. So, not the cleanest of first laps, but it looks as if everybody is pretty much unscathed. Coming around now to complete lap number 1 is Ray Riddall. Coming down to the start-finish line. Ray Riddall, in his Williams Renault, leads lap number 1. 7/10 of a second gap already between himself and Jules Bouchard as they come down to the first chicane again. Bouchard second. Team is third. Del Piccolo is fourth. Ruben Fernandez is in fifth. The other Ferrari of Wilkes is sixth. Then Saber, Boss, Kirsten, Nilsson, Grant Riddall, Centorami. Looks like he's dropped back considerably. And another car has gone off I believe that's Francisco Amaral in the other Leighton house having an off-course excursion. So some people taking to the kitty litter unwittingly, but at least from the outside, it does not appear that there are too many problems with the cars. Bouchard continuing in second place. Third is Team. Fourth, Del Piccolo. This is a fantastic opportunity for Ruben Fernandez in the Leighton house. He's never been this high. And he goes on the grass a bit there. And he's got Ferraris stalking him here. The Ferraris are both down to 6th and 7th now, which I'm sure is not going to please the Tifosi crowd, but they've got a ways to go. They can definitely improve their position. Fernandez in 5th. I haven't seen him this high in a F1 Grand Prix like this in a long time, so you can take advantage. Look at all the cars running wide off of the Ascari chicane. If you're not careful, that can cause serious problems. And here are the Ferraris being stalked at the moment by, I believe that's Juha Bos, yes, in the first of the Benettons. And as they come off of the Parabolica, Richard Wilkes is in front. I wonder if there are any team orders here. I'm guessing there are not. Yeah, Sabre looks like he's going to try to overtake Wilkes on the straight here. And he has. Sabre has advanced back to be the leading Ferrari in the group. He's in 6th place. Wilkes drops to 7th. So we'll have to keep a close eye on the Ferrari team to see if they can do anything. But Boss, who is notorious for starting a little further back but then moving up steadily, riding on board with Boss right now. Downshifting for the chicane. Those tire stacks, you got to come so close to them to get through the chicane as fast as you possibly can. Now into the first of the Lesmos. And don't forget, this HB Ford engine is actually very powerful, excess of 700 horsepower with this V8. Just because it's not a 12-cylinder engine, don't think that Juha is at any big disadvantage here. You can see how he's keeping pace with Wilkes right now. There's that 12-cylinder Ferrari engine. Now into, we got more dust up here. It looks like somebody else might have clipped the grass or the dirt, but in any case, coming down now towards the Parabolica, and it looks like the Ferraris are going to be able to consolidate their position for now. Fernandez still in 5th place. Doesn't look like he's making much of an impression on Del Piccolo. He's starting to struggle to hold on there. So Shlapinski is all the way down to 13th after the start, which is pretty crazy. I guess he might have been involved in some of the contact that happened on the main straight before. But Del Piccolo taking up the challenge now for the Minardi Ferrari team. There's our leader, and Jules Bouchard, and then John Team in 3rd place. So the question now is going to be, and Simon Wattman is out of the race, unfortunately. He's the first retirement in the Ligier Lamborghini. That's too bad because it's an Italian power plant, and I'm sure there were Lamborghini fans in the stands today. That's too bad. So the question now is, can the McLaren team put up any kind of a challenge to Ray Riddall? The short answer to start with is no. Ray is 3.5 seconds ahead of Bouchard right now. But we'll see how things go in the race. I mean, it's an interesting situation between these two. It's the Renault V10, which historically handles better on handles good on full and empty tanks. The thirsty McLaren, I'm sure, has to carry more fuel and therefore may not be as well balanced later on. But here's Bouchard coming through. In 3rd place then is John Team. 4th, Del Piccolo. And look at this. Here is Ruben Fernandez making a challenge on Sabre for 6th place. No, actually, the inverse happened there. Sabre got ahead of Fernandez, so Fernandez is now in a Ferrari sandwich. Yeah, Fernandez was 5th. Now he is 6th. So he's falling backwards here. On board now with Ruben Fernandez. Got a little bit closer there. Bit cleaner of a execution of the chicane. Now coming through the Lesmos. Looks like Ruben might be fighting a loose car there. Loose is on the edge of control, of course, and it's fast if you can control it, but if it becomes too big of a hassle, it can be a problem. Heading down to the Ascari chicane. And Ruben at least is holding his own between the two Ferraris there. That is an Ilmor V10 that is in the Leighton house. Let's look a little further back in the field here. There's Grant Riddall and his teammate Centurami. He's down 7 spots from the start, so he clearly has a lot of work to do to get back the position that he was in. He's got Nilsson in front of him. Passing Nilsson is not going to be an easy thing to do. And then Nicholas Kirsten back here in 12th in the second Jordan. 13th, Brian Janik, so he didn't have the greatest of starts either. He's down 3 places. And here is Lipinski down 7 places. He is actually battling right now with Peter Hlavic in the footwork cart. Let's go on board with Hlavic here, see how this hashes out. Heading down to the first chicane. This is a Hart-tuned Ford engine, I believe, so obviously not going to have as much power as Lipinski. Remember that the footwork team ditched the Porsche engine earlier in the season. Yeah, there goes Lipinski with the Ferrari power sprinting away. Yellow flag in this section. Not sure what's going on. Let's have a look. Oh, Ruben Fernandez has had an incident of some kind. That's what it is. Let's take a look in a replay at what happened here. It looks like Ruben had a spin. We're going to run it back a bit here, see what happened. Yeah, he did. Oh, it looks like there's other cars involved. My goodness. Downshifting for the chicane. He misses his point of entry there, and it looks like he spins on the exit. Didn't look like he contacted anybody there, but of course, he can't like reverse right into the flow of traffic. He needs to find a way to get back on. Oh, see, this is what cost him so much time, is the reversing, going back and forth, trying to get the car righted. He didn't want to reverse into anybody and cause an accident. So I think Rubens handled that situation about as good as he possibly could have. That's what happened to Rubens. He is now down, oh my goodness, down to 15th place. 10 positions gone, just like that. That's really too bad. So Nilsson here is sandwiched between the two Tyrrells. He is second in the point standings at the moment. And I'm sure he's itching to get around that number 4 Tyrrell and advance up the field, but kind of boxed in at the moment. And those Tyrrells are no slouches. They're carrying the Honda V10 that was used the previous year by the McLaren team. And still a very, very strong engine, even though, oh my goodness, there is a... It appears that is Johnny Ace is out of the race in the Kalani Ford. Looks like a heavy impact. So we're going to see what happened there. There. Let's run it back a little bit here. Jonathan was last on the grid, but he would have advanced 1 position even at the start because one of the cars, I believe it was Jill Toe, was in the garage area, had not made the grid. So here comes Jonathan. Yeah, this is one of the dangers of running at Monza, is running too wide onto the grass. He got a tank slapper going, could not regain control, and slams the barrier at the exit of the second Lesmo. So that's what happened to Jonathan, unfortunately. Too bad. Ray continues to lead. The gap is actually getting a bit smaller now. It was 3.5 seconds. It's now 3.3. Well, it accordions back and forth, but at least it's not getting too big. Bouchard runs wide at the exit of the Lesmo, and he's got to dodge parts here. There's a tire, which is now gone, thankfully. But definitely one thing that everybody has to be careful of is not to run too wide on the exit. You're wanting to build speed and get a good exit, but if you run onto the grass, you could get into a serious situation like we just saw with Johnny Aces. So here they are coming down the straight. You can see visually the distance between the leader, Ray Riddall, and second place, Jules Bouchard. Then third, John Team. And it looks as if David Sabre is starting to close a bit on Gabriel Del Piccolo, who's up 5 positions from the start. Here comes Sabre, and he's definitely got a roll on him coming out of the Parabolica. Let's see if he can get it done. There goes Sabre. Both of them hit across the line together. And is Sabre going to take him on the inside? He might. No, Del Piccolo wins the chicken battle and breaks later. But this is not over yet. I think Sabre definitely has the legs to get by Del Piccolo as they head through the Curva Grande. Second chicane. Yeah, Sabre staying right with him here. Oh, look at this. Slow exit. Oh, some contact there. Del Piccolo not wanting to give up the position. Squeezed David on the inside of Lesmo 1. Now to Lesmo 2. But Sabre definitely, I think, has more grunt. He may be running lower wings than Del Piccolo is. That's another thing to consider. But here they come to the Ascari chicane. But Sabre definitely looking to claw back some positions here. He's down 2 positions. On board now with David Sabre. And look at this. Look at how much speed he has compared to Del Piccolo on the straightaway. Del Piccolo takes a defensive line into the Parabolica. And, wow, that was awesome. Sabre sweeps by on the outside and takes the position. So Sabre now up to 4th place. Gabriel Del Piccolo down to 5th. Wilkes is in 6th. It'll be interesting to see if Wilkes can gain any. Grant Riddall moving up the grid. He's or up the standings. He's 7th right now. Nilsson 8th. Bos 9th. And Kirsten is 10th. So it's about the same up front here. There's Jules, who's chasing after Ray Riddall, and his teammate in the background there. And the number 2 McLaren, John Team. John has had some excellent runs in this car here and there, but has not had the luck that he would like to accompany those. Other cars out of the race now. Bruno Chacon and Francisco Amaral. So we have 4 retirements so far. Gilles Taux is running last, and that's probably because of the fact that he exited the pit lane last. They would have given him a green light after everybody was well and clear and away from the grid. And Sabre definitely is putting some distance between himself and Del Piccolo. Wilkes in 6th, 7th Grant Riddall, 8th Nilsson, 9th Bos, 10th Kirsten. They're all pretty spread out right now. 11th Brian Janik, 12th Cezariusz Slipinski, 13th is Peter Hlavich, and back there I believe in 14th is Ruben Fernandez. Yes, so Ruben has gained some places here. He's got Drexler behind him here, but I think he really wants to get back in front of the footwork that's right ahead of him, and then he can start to make some serious hay. That is a good car. It's not maybe not a frontline car, but it's a very good midfield car with the Ilmore engine, that Leighton House. Leighton House used to be called March, but they took on the name of their primary sponsor in 1991. Eventually, they would go back to the name of March, but here it's called a Leighton House. So here we have a V10 versus that Hart V8 heading down the straight here. So in theory, Rubens has more power, and it looks as if he's closing. But that footwork seems to be working very well in the... Oh my goodness, Hlavich. Oh no, there's contact between the 2 of them. Rubens saw a bit of an opening there, and now he's on the plate for Drexler, who goes in the grass trying to overtake him. My goodness. So a lot of action going on right here. Not of the type that I think any of the driver wants to see, but I'm hoping that there wasn't any damage caused by those things, but that was incredible. Drexler actually went to the grass to try to get by Fernandez. I don't think Fernandez realized how quickly he was closing. Or maybe it was a reflexive defensive move. Not sure, but you can see there the V10, look at how quickly he's back on the footwork. That V10 producing a lot of power compared to the footwork at least. Now into the Ascari chicane. You're looking down the back straightaway now through a telephoto lens, just at the point where you have the Parabolica. Is he going to try it here? Yes. He pops out. Ruben pops out. Is he going to take Hlavic? Yes, he does. Fernandez passes Hlavic into the Parabolica. Look at this. Hlavic fighting back on the inside. I don't think he'll be able to do much about it. No. He slots in. Oh my goodness, on the grass again. Hlavic trying to counterattack here. He's on the inside line, but I don't think he's going to be able to pull it off. If he breaks later, he might be able to close off the... Oh my goodness. Fernandez left him almost no room there. This is very, very close racing. And Drexler with the $75 seat for that action. But Hlavic is not done. He wants that position back. He's on the outside looking at Fernandez as they come down to the second chicane. Or rather the third, if you count the first section as two chicanes in one. Now into the Lesmo number 1 to the right, but it looks like Fernandez is starting to use that power of the Ilmor engine to pull away. And now, actually, he has to worry about the Renault of Drexler sweeps by, but, well, that's why he was so quick. He didn't brake enough for the corner. Drexler now trying to find his way back onto the circuit, and he does so. That will give Peter Hlavic some much-needed breathing room. Oh, look at this. Janik fighting with Kirsten now. This is a battle for 11th place. The BMS Dallara. You'll recall that Janik was with Lotus earlier this year, but then decided to try his hand at the Dallara. He's almost back to where he was on the grid. He's got one more position to make up. And here's Grant in 7th place, and he is chasing Richard Wilkes right now. It'll be interesting to see if he... Let me raise that camera view. There you go. It'll be interesting to see if he can catch Wilkes into the Parabolica. Building speed very gradually here. You don't want the car to swap ends, and you don't want it to push out into the gravel there because you enter with too much speed. Onto the main straight now. And he's staying relatively close to Wilkes now. I don't think he has too much of a deficit in terms of power. That Honda, remember, is the one that McLaren used in 1990, so it's a good engine. In fact, Berger and Senna were wondering if maybe that engine was better than the V12 they were saddled with from 91, but of course later on it proved to be a fantastic engine. Down to this left-right chicane. You can see Del Piccolo just up ahead as well. Very clean driving so far by Grant. Into the Lesmo. And things are about the same up front here. The only difference is I believe that's Gilles Taux who is being lapped by the leaders. Grant Riddall still in front. He's actually now got a gap of 4.7 seconds. So the gap continues to open up. Here comes Jules Bouchard in 2nd place off the Parabolica. We're looking for 3rd now. John Team. That is Gilles Taux, who is now a lap down in his Minardi. No, sorry, not Minardi. A Dallara. Here comes Sabre in 4th. 5th, Gabriel Del Piccolo. And then we have 6th and 7th, Wilkes and Grant Riddall. Nilsson, Bos, who are both running the HB, and here comes Kirsten, shadowed by Janik, then Schlapinski. So people are starting to get spread out here. It'll be interesting to see when people decide to go for the pits. This is a 53-lap race. My guess is they're probably going to come in sometime in the early 20s or mid-20s. Remember that the weight of the fuel is far less after you've made your first pit stop, so you can go with softer tires perhaps for the second stint because there's not as much fuel load to carry around the circuit. A little bit of a puff of dust there from Sabre, but he's keeping the 6-4-3 going in fourth. There's Del Piccolo chasing him, and Wilkes. Let's take a look back from Wilkes here. That is Grant, who's trying to close to the last points paying position. It's a pretty even matchup here between these two. As they head down to the Parabolica one more time, we're going to start lap number 15 here, or 16. Wilson in 8th, 9th. And here's 10th, Kirsten, with Janik not far behind. Looking back now from Kirsten's car, Janik seems to have a bit of a roll in his Dallara. Yes, he definitely does. And there he goes. And he takes the position. Janik up to 10th, Kirsten back down to 11th. So that's draft and horsepower there, and probably handling, as Janik had a better exit from the Parabolica. The Parabolica is so critical because it sets up your speed going down that straight. So Janik's next target will be Juha. He's about 3 seconds up the road. You can see there how everybody's on the ragged edge as they're trying to use as much road as possible, and sometimes they find themselves running. You see this dust there, clipping the edge of the track. Right there. Fernandez is in 13th, having gotten by Drexler and Plavich. So Fernandez still 2 positions down from where he started, but it's too bad because he was 5th place earlier and looking really good, but had a off in one of the chicanes. And Giovanni, of course, not having a good race. He started well up the field, but is now in 12th place. He actually started 4th on the grid, but early lap schmozzles did not allow him to make much time. In fact, cost him a great deal. David Watman in the lone Ligier Lamborghini is running 17th, 18th, Jolto a lap down, and that is the last car running in the race. Yeah, David Watman there being lapped by Ray Riddall. The gap now to second place, 5 seconds. John Team in 3rd, David Sabre 4th. So Wilkes is now having a look possibly at overtaking Del Piccolo, who is not the easiest person to overtake. Riding now with Wilkes. So again, that is last year's spec Ferrari engine in Del Piccolo's car. So the question is, can the handling of the 643 be the difference and the updated engine? Looks like he's closing ever so little, ever so slightly. He's definitely got a good roll coming off of Parabolica here. He might be able to do it, or at least he's getting a lot closer. Downshifting now for the first set of chicanes. There they go into Curva Grande. Yeah, Wilkes has definitely got the legs to do it. He sees him up there and just reaching out, trying to get every little advantage he can. And Grant Riddall, of course, is staying right with him. He's not falling back at all. So we'll have to keep a close eye on Grant as well. There's a look from behind. Grant going onto the grass for a second there. So we've seen a lot of agricultural driving this far. More than we might expect. But then again, the temptation here is to just go all out, flat out, and exit every chicane as fast as you possibly can. Through the Ascari chicane. Oh my goodness, look at, oh, and there, see, that's exactly what can happen if you push too hard. Wilkes went off onto the tarmac, but fortunately it didn't cost him much time. Looking forward now towards Del Piccolo. He's about the same distance as he was before. But he is pushing that Ferrari. The other thing that this Ferrari has is a 7-gear layout. There you go, he's in 7th now. And you can see he's just closing just ever so slightly. That last lap there, you can see on his dashboard was a 1:31. Jill Toe is just ahead here. They're going to have to lap him at some point. Looking back now, there's Grant. Jill Toe moves out of the way, lets everyone by, very sporting to them. Coming through the first Lesmo now. Oh my goodness, I believe I saw a tire going there. Yes, there is a tire. The question is, whose is it? I do not know. But there's tires and debris all over the place there. Everyone's having to tiptoe to get through. It appears it's Plavich. Plavich out of the race, so we're going to have to find him and see what happened. Gonna run this back a bit. May have been too far back, but those were the parts that were laying there on the circuit post-accident, so yeah, it's too far back. Oh, and Jill Toe is a DNF now. How did that happen? That must have just happened now because it wasn't a DNF before. I hope he didn't do this while making room for people because it can be hard to do that. But it looks like he had an accident because the nose is off the car. It's too far back. Too bad. So this race already starting to take its toll. Including Jill Toe, we have 6 DNFs there. Oh my goodness, look how close things are here now between Del Piccolo and Wilkes and Grant Riddall, but the closest there is, if you look back, look at Grant, he's trying to get around Richard Wilkes here. Definitely very close. Heading down towards the Ascari chicane, I believe, yes. The flame bursts out of the back of the Ferrari as Wilkes downshifts onto the curb. Heading now down towards the Parabolica. So this is the hottest battle on the circuit at the moment between these three. Everyone else is pretty spread out. Off of the Parabolica, let's see if Wilkes can make any impression here. Del Piccolo's doing an excellent job holding the zone. He must have that car trimmed out really good. Into the first set of chicanes. So Sabre is the highest placed Ferrari right now in 4th place. And then you have Del Piccolo in a Ferrari engined Minardi. Oh my goodness. It looks as if that was a little bit of a choppy exit by Wilkes there. Grant clambering, trying to find a way to get by, but that V12 power doing Wilkes well on this circuit. Down towards the chicane, the Ascari chicane to be precise. We're looking down the back straightaway now from the point of view of the Parabolica.
Good evening.
Oh, is that Juha?
Yeah, earlier than usual.
What happened?
engine.
Oh.
It usually lasts a bit longer than this. This is... I was even babying it, but, well, never mind.
Well,
Probably
it's
missed a gear.
too bad. Sorry about that. I mean, I was remarking earlier that the HP is actually a far more powerful engine than many people give it credit for. As here comes Wilkes up the inside. Oh my goodness, they both take to the kitty litter. Wilkes makes the pass. Now, how do you see that as a steward there? Should he give that position back?
Well, I'm already looking at it. It's... Well...
Looks like he did. So
he pulled the long side and... well,
look at Grant. Grant trying on the inside there. He got closed off by Wilkes, but...
he gave it back. So.
He did give it back, yeah. But a clear case of everybody just driving at 11/10 trying to get the maximum out of the car. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see more stuff like that towards the end of the race, because your mental acuity starts to go away. And the first thing that suffers when that happens is your precision with chicanes. So, but Wilkes definitely looks like he's closing in on Del Piccolo. This is the hottest battle in the circuit at the moment between these three. It was a little hotter about 2 minutes ago, but definitely there's tinder here for some kind of a fire to start. It'll be interesting to see how this progresses. But Ray, having another one of his customary runs out front, he is now leading by, oh my goodness, 7.5 seconds. He and that Williams Renault are like ham and cheese. They were made for each other. And Jules soldiering on in second. But the thing that I pointed out to people is, like, Jules is only third on the points chart, and he's way, way far back. At some point, you got to consider at what point is the championship out of reach of anybody except Ray.
Well, it's still a bit to go. I'll have a look at the points table currently. It's
72 to 47. It's quite a gulf.
There's 4 races to go, which is 40 points.
So it's still conceivable.
It is, yeah. Unlikely, but conceivable.
It's funny, in real life, the main reason why Williams didn't capture the Constructors' Championship in '91 is they didn't have good, consistent results to start with. That was largely due to the fact that their semi-automatic gearbox did not work very well at first. By the time they finally got their hands on that problem and fixed it, they had lost too much momentum in the championship to McLaren and to Senna. Let's look here. Okay. Wilkes looks like he's in a position to strike again here. 2 Ferrari-powered cars. Look at this. He's got a really good roll. Coming off the parabolica, he goes to the outside.
Oh.
Now it's going to be a question of who breaks first. Wilkes sweeps across, takes the position,
Whoa,
but no! No!
Well, I think he took the cloud to the tires. Well, Grant had to take evasive action.
And Grant is an unwilling participant in that. Let's look at this again. Replay as they head into
just a tad too quick.
He clipped the barrier, then clipped. Grant was taking evasive action, actually, so now Wilkes has got to go to the pit and get a wing. The Tifosi will not be happy about any of this. But he just clipped that barrier.
Yeah, that puts in... Oh, Wilkes is off.
Oh, no. So here's the problem. Now he has to drive that thing back to the pits. He's trying to do it as fast as he can, but that thing's going to be pushing like crazy in every single corner. So he's going to be driving a lot slower through the Lesmos than he could. Yeah, this is a pretty serious setback for Wilkes. Sent Tarami out of the race as well. He was 15th at the time, so I'm not sure what happened there. But
it's a suspension, so my best guess is an accident, but I will have a look at it for you.
Well, Wilkes is now just struggling to try to get back to the pits, replace that wing. And by the way, here comes Grant Riddall into the pits. Apparently, he's decided that now is a good time to take a tire stop after that rather strange event that went on there. And this is going to drop him down the order, but this is about the time when we expect pit stops to start. Oh, this is a long pit stop. Maybe he left repairs on. If that's the case, they'll be spit shining this thing for the next hour. No, it didn't happen. Okay, no, he didn't do that. He's leaving the pits now. Probably as good a time as any to stop. He's going to slot in behind Drexler. And look at this, Lipinski.
Centurame was engine failure, it appears. Despite what it says. He just, well, lost no power exiting one of the shipmates.
Lipinski seems to have been overtaken by Janik. Janik is now in 7th place.
And Grant is now chasing Drexler.
Yes, he came out just behind him when he exited the pits.
Yeah, so chasing a Williams, but probably not the one he wanted to chase.
Nilsson coming up to lap David Wattman in the V12 Lamborghini powered Ligier. Does so. Yeah, Nilsson, I'm sure he'd much be rather up the in a higher standing than he is now, because he's thinking about all the points he's losing to Ray Riddall being back there in 6th. But this is a power circuit, and the Renault definitely will win over the HB Ford, even though that's a great engine. Lipinski and Janik still very close together. There could be some action here before this is over. It's last year's Ferrari and the Minardi, and then you got, I believe, is that a Judd power plant
in the Dallara, yes.
In the Dallara. Through the Lesmos now. Lipinski finally back to a position close to where he started the race. Oh, lots of power coming through the Ascari chicane here. Gaining just a little bit here on Janik. So the front runners, to our knowledge, have not stopped yet. 9.5 seconds is the gap now between... Are you guys thinking about giving Ray a weight penalty for the rest of the year?
Well, I'll give him one next year then.
Yeah. Well, he's just cruising right now. He's making this look like child's play. Eventually, he's going to be coming in for his stop. Not now. There's no wrench icon. And the same is true for the McLarens. They're not coming into the pits either. Saber doing a great job in 4th place. Started the race in 3rd. He was actually 2nd on the grid for quite a bit of qualifying. But then Bouchard asserted himself and got 2nd place in the grid. But of course, this is the favorite of the race for all the Tifosi. He's going to want to be careful, though, and not over-rev that engine. Having that 7th gear is definitely a bonus on a track like this. Well, it's a bonus probably, period, on any track. The battle for 7th place continues here, and Lipinski definitely right on the back wing of Janik. Getting closer and closer. Chicane, and I can see how it's very tempting there, Juha, to just go a bit, extend yourself just a bit too far in an effort to get by somebody, and next thing you know, you're
in the tires.
Or at the very least, now look at this, he's definitely catching him here. Coming out of Curva Grande. not in the right place to take the position, and Janik taking the defensive posture anyway. Very clean exit, though, from the chicane. Lesmo 2. Yeah, it's about getting through those chicanes as cleanly and as precisely as you can. Because that totally determines your speed on the next straightaway. Good exit from a little bit of a bumpy one, but a pretty fast exit from Ascari. Now down to the Parabolica. And we got a report now from the garage from Santorami. He says his car was too damaged to continue on.
There we go.
So that's why he retired from the race. Smart move. Because if your suspension's bent on a circuit like this, and you have to constantly drive the car with the wheel cocked a little bit to one side, that's
not what you want to.
No, it's not what you want.
There's too many chicanes for that.
Yes, way too many. So that altogether makes, I think about 8 DNFs now. But here's Slapinski, right with Janik now, shadowing him through the Lesmos. This is the closest he's been. Trims the grass a bit. Oh, definitely runs off there. That's going to cost him some time. But how much of that do you think, Juha, is the car pushing because he's so close to Janik?
Well, fairly good question. I haven't really been paying attention to when it happens. How close he is to him? We'll probably get a bit wiser once he gets under zero wing. I'd say we'll find out within half a lap back.
He was very close to him, and going through those Lesmos, I'm sure any spoilage of the aero on the front is going to cause the car to understeer out to the edge. And we got a ping issue. Is he gone?
Yeah. Well, he's gone off my screen. If that's
he's gone off my screen too. Is it a disco?
Well, he's on my screen. Is somewhere in the banking.
My goodness, if that's a disco, that's really unfortunate.
That looks like a very annoying disco.
It's a disco. Very unfortunate.
Out.
He is out of the race. 15th place is where he will end his race.
Ruben Fernandez is in the pits.
Wilkes is all the way down to 14th. I assume he made a pit stop.
Oh, yeah, he had to. He lost front wing.
Yeah, for his front wing, that's right. You're right. Fernandez now out of the pits. He's on 11th, working on a decent recovery drive. Now he's in 10th. Grant Riddall was the first of the cars to pit. So none of the front four look like they're going to pit. Neither does Del Piccolo or Nilsson. Everybody's still circulating. I wonder if anybody's going to try to go the full race distance without a stop.
Well, that was my intention, but mostly because I didn't expect to have the race speed. I thought it would be wiser to just try to pick up the pieces that way.
Yeah. And Slapinski right now is 12th, but he's going to fall down to 14th here once the lap that David Watman and Wilkes have has been undone. And with all this attrition, Nilsson still in 6th place. John Team working his way through some lapped cars here, but the front three stay out. So does Sabre. We're starting lap number 32 right now. can see Del Piccolo here. No, he's not going to pit, or at least he's not planning to.
I think the closest gap we currently have on track is between Anders and Gabriele. And
Yeah, that would be it.
3 seconds in arrears, and Janik behind him.
Yeah, you can see it now. Is a slight.
Oh yeah, there's only 3 seconds between Drexler and Fernandez, but that's near for last place.
Yeah.
That's the 10th.
Yeah, here's looking at Nilsson on board right now. And you can just see the car in front of him, just a little speck. It's exiting the picture into the next turn. Oh, it appears that Schlapinski was using a VR setup tonight, and he's blaming that.
Messed up.
He is blaming that for his issue. So he's going to go back to 3 screens.
Well, that's annoying.
Yeah, I'd say. Well, while we have a lull in the action here, it's probably a good opportunity to do the trivia question. Okay, so the trivia question for this evening is...
Yes.
Which of the following Italian circuits has never hosted the Italian Grand Prix? Is it A, Verano, B, Milan, or is it C, Turin?
My God. Verano?
Time's up. You're going to go for Verano. I know that
Yeah.
Barry Lynn said A as well. And guess what?
Well, I suppose we're both right then.
You are correct. It's Verano. Verano is the one circuit out of that list that did not host the Italian Grand Prix.
Well, it looked like a very small track, so it surprised me, but I was also surprised about the other names.
Well, they go way back, before the F1
Oh,
championship.
look, yeah, I was about to say there's probably some city race or whatever.
So good job, Barry Lynn. Good job, Juha. I'll have to wait to use I'll have to use my wrong buttons another day. Back to the race. And Ray is continuing on. Almost 10 seconds now between himself in second place. Jules Bouchard third. John Team, they're just flapping some more cars here. Sabre might be closing a bit on Team here. Potentially. I don't know whether that's to do with the lapping of cars, slowing down Team a bit, or if Team's having some issues that he's having to deal with. Balance of the car may not be what he wants. But Sabre doing a great job having started from third, maintaining his position in fourth. Looks like the car's handling really, really well for him. There's Team in the foreground. Then you have one of the Leightonhouses and Drexler in between this group. That's Fernandez in 10th. Fernandez was all the way up to 5th after the start, and then had an off at one of the chicanes that put him in a kind of a precarious spot, and he had to wait.
Yeah, I think I benefited from that one.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because it's probably the highest he's been in one of these races so far. But Sabre has got a massive gap back to Del Piccolo. It's 30 seconds between him and Del Piccolo. Another 3 seconds back to Anders Nilsson. So Sabre has no pressure on him whatsoever right now. So he's just got to keep the car going straight, and he might be able to gain some time here on the third place car of team. It'll be interesting to see what happens if there's a pit stop. There may be a chance for him to eclipse a team in the pits.
See if there's anything else. Well, I'd say Fernandez is closing in on Drexler.
Yes, he is. Drexler's Fernandez was 10th. Drexler actually just passed him.
Okay, sorry. So I missed that.
Well, I did too, but
sorry.
And then right behind him, that's actually Saber, not Wilkes, that's behind him. Saber is going to put a lap on Fernandez. But Drexler, Drexler, I think, is finally starting to look comfortable. He had some offs earlier in the race, and is now at the point where he looks like he's comfortable and he's into a rhythm.
I'd say Saber is also coming close to John Tim, or is that just an impression?
It appears that way, but I don't think he's gaining an incredible amount of time. Right now, the gap between Saber and Team is about 3.5 seconds. He's got to get rid of... Oh my goodness, there's another off by Fernandez, and he's lost his front wing. So Fernandez is going to have to come to the pits again, assuming that he already did his pit stop for the race.
Oh, that was an annoying one.
Yeah, the back end just spooled up too much and lost traction and put him into the barrier. So too bad for Fernandez. A race that started good is not going too well for him. But Saber can see Team up the road, definitely. But I don't think he's making too big of a inroads to him right now. And that's why I'm suggesting that maybe in the pits is where that will happen, if anything. It's just not quite close enough yet. Status quo up front, no changes. Saber in 4th. 5th is Del Piccolo. You can start to see Nilsson in the background there, but they're both so far behind Saber. So if there's any battle here, it'll probably be just between the two of them. And then 7th is Janik by himself now. Nicholas Kirsten 8th. 9th is Grant Radal. 10th, Drexler. And here comes Fernandez into the pits right now to get his wing replaced and maybe fix some suspension damage if he had any hitting the barrier there. He's going to be sitting there for a while. And Wilkes down in 12th after his incident at the first chicane. Watman in 13th, and that is the end of the cars that are running at this point. Coming onto the main straight now is Ray. This is completion of lap 37 going into lap number 38. 9-second gap between himself and Jules Bouchard in the first of the McLarens. And then it's a 15-second gap back to John Team is in 3rd. And the gap is getting a bit bigger, actually. It's not growing. It's not really getting smaller between Saber and John Team. So Saber's doing what he can just to maintain that gap. It's now up to 4 seconds. And you can see Fernandez in the background there, just waiting patiently while they fix his car. So the race that comes after this one, we mentioned it when we said what was coming up, is going to be Portugal.
Yes.
That's going to be an interesting race because it's a race that demands high speeds, but then you have these really serpentine kind of corners behind it.
Yeah, it's a race on 2 legs. That's the problem. Is you go for a straight line speed and how much you want to sacrifice in those slow corners. So that makes setup quite tricky, I think.
Yeah, you kind of have 2 ways to go. The cars that have 12 cylinders can probably afford to use a little more wing because you have that extra grunt. But at the same time, you don't want to be a sitting duck on the straight. So, and then we're coming back with the touring cars on the 3rd of November. Is this going to be using Martin Lasina's Silverstone?
Yes, it should be using that one. Yeah.
That's great. It'll be great to have
Brand new
another
track.
It'll be great to have another race with that track. Such great work done by.
We'll have another one. I mean, they're returning there again.
Yeah, there's two. There's 2 Silverstone rounds to go.
Yep.
So
More fun.
yeah, so we're getting our money's worth out of that track. It's fantastic.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. So it looks as if Nilsson's closing in slowly on Del Piccolo, but not at a very fast clip. Oh, but now it appears that Sabre is starting to close on John Team. The gap is now sub 3 seconds, down to 2.6 seconds. So maybe he is closing it. Could also be traffic, but you can just see the McLaren disappear into the next corner ahead. Yep, there's Team just up ahead. And Team, I'm sure, will definitely be looking to have a great finish today because he had some bad luck as of late, even though he has a very good car in the McLaren. Parabolica. The gap's now down to 2.5 seconds between Sabre and John Team. So we could see a battle here at some point. Not right now, but eventually. But the handling for the Ferrari looks like it's really, really good for Sabre. He looks very comfortable.
Trying to see if there's anything else ongoing, but
it's the only thing that really
Ray with a 6-second gap over Bouchard. Team and Sabre 3 seconds apart. Well, and Anders being actually the gap's not too big. Anders is only a second behind Del Piccolo. Although going from the revs, he seems to be nursing that engine.
Well, the visual gap is definitely closing between Team and David Sabre. Team letting his car unlimber through the Parabolica there, trying to get on the power as fast as he can. And the gap is still at about 2.5 seconds. And they have Fernandez just ahead of them here. I'm sure he won't make any trouble, but so much of what makes your speed is just how quickly and cleanly you can get through these chicanes. If you bog down even a little bit, it can be enough for the guy behind you to gain a few tenths. Now riding with John Team. It's interesting that that LCD gauge that he has, it's the same one that's on the Tyrrell Honda, even though it's a different engine. It looks like Honda supplies him with the same LCD display. Looking back now, you can just see the speck of red there, and that is David Sabre following John Team. And the gap is back.
Oh, Anders goes off track.
See what happened here. Anders running in 6th place, trying to chase down Del Piccolo, but he lost the back end a little bit there. Very minor, and then he actually went on the grass for a bit. He could have hit the barrier, though. That's dangerous, but keeps going. That would have gotten his attention for sure. He's trying his best to try to catch Del Piccolo. And it appears that, oh goodness, it looks like, well, Fernandez lets Team by, but Team had a bit of a sloppy exit from the last chicane. So if there's many more of those, Sabre might find himself a lot closer. The gap is now under 2 seconds. It's 1.9 now. And there's Sabre lapping Fernandez as they head into the Ascari chicane. Yeah, Team's handling seems to be going off a bit. He looks a bit loose. Now it's down to 1 second between Sabre and John Team, so we have a definite race on our hands here. Yeah, look at him fight the back end there. Yeah, Sabre's no longer a speck. He is very clearly in the rearview mirror of John Team through the chicane. Look at how close he's getting now. Wow. So I'm wondering if it's just how Team's car handles on more empty tanks than it does on full tanks. And Shlapinski clarifying on the oh, look at this. We'll talk about it in a minute. Here comes Sabre getting much, much closer to Team. So something must be up with Team's handling that he's giving up all this time all of a sudden. But Sabre is in a perfect spot here. He's got this position on the plate. He just needs to find the right time to strike. Look at how close he gets through the...
I'll get there.
2 V12 power plants here. One from Japan, one from Italy. And you can see how the back end of Team's car is really slipping out from underneath him there. He's trying everything just to keep it underneath him. Now here comes Sabre. I think he's got him right here.
Oh, yeah, it looks like it.
Looks like it. Question is he going to outbrake him here? No, not now.
Probably backed out of it, thinking wiser because he wasn't going to get close enough.
The Tifosi, if they were real people, would be going nuts right now. What I was saying before is Shlapinski was clarifying it wasn't a disco per se that took him out. It was the fact that his VR plug-in for AMS didn't work right and something froze.
Yeah.
I'm sure that if he starts up AMS once again, it'll be perfectly fine. Sabre stays right with Team. Heading down now to the Ascari chicane. He definitely gains through here.
Well, he doesn't have that much time left neither. I mean, it's only...
Look at this, he's got a roll. He sweeps to the outside, has a look, but is he going to go around the outside? Oh my goodness.
Ooh, brave move. No, not yet. But
no, but now he's going back in the inside. This is a classic scrap here.
Yeah, no, slipstream, no, that's not going to work.
My goodness, these two just putting everything on the table here. Giving us a great show. But Team is driving a car that clearly is not to his liking at the moment. He's doing everything he can just to keep it moving straight. And Sabre in a much better position in terms of handling. They both have V12 power. Into the second chicane. And here's where it can really get tricky for Sabre. Getting through the Lesmos here. He doesn't want the car to push out into the grass. And he does a good job of making sure. Oh, we got debris on the circuit. Somebody else has had a off of some kind.
I will have a look if I can see who it is. Grant. I think it's Grant.
Grant Riddall out of the race.
Grant at the second. Lesmo ran wide.
Speaking of running wide, there goes a team over the curb at the exit of Ascari.
Yeah, Grant flipped the inside curb and got thrown into the outside wall.
That's too bad, because he was calmly moving up through the ranks there, and at the end of the day, he's not going to have much to show for it. That's too bad. Team's got a little more room now to maneuver with here. He gained a little bit of time on Sabre there, but still, Sabre's right with him. Team into the second chicane. Oh, very, very loose exit there, but it looks like Sabre wasn't much better. Yeah, at this point it's lap 46, so really at this point, why would you go in the pits for tires? I guess everybody concluded that it was better to not do that.
Exactly.
Well, we're used to seeing one or two people do that, but not the whole field. It's interesting.
Well, you can afford it around this track. I mean, also because a pit stop is costing you a shite load of time. So yeah.
Because everybody's moving so quickly. Oh my goodness, team almost loses the back end off the track.
And he's
oh my goodness, he clipped the grass.
Loses his rear wing. Well, both wings really. Oh.
Let's look at a replay of what happened here. From on board, John, look what happens.
The rear broke loose.
The rear end broke loose. He tried to correct it, runs off the track, and he hits the barrier. And there goes Sabre into third place. And there goes that scrap. It's too bad it had to finish that way, but.
Sabre was in the wall. Sabre had
no,
the wheel.
No, what happened?
Well,
Sabre he had just taken over third place, and then he goes into the wall.
Yeah, I just spun exiting the first part of chicane.
Oh my goodness! He hit the gravel, and he runs right into the tires at the very edge. Oh my goodness!
Yeah,
that's incredible.
Kicking himself now.
And
Gabriel is going to move into third spot.
He had third locked up.
Yeah, and Anders Nilsson's going to be fourth. Wow. Well, that's an unexpected present.
Gabriel Del Piccolo is currently shown in third now.
Yeah,
Gabriel's third, and now Janik is going to move up to fifth place. So yeah, unexpected. So that begs the question: where is Nilsson? Nilsson is fourth. Janik fifth. Kirsten sixth. So both Jordans in the points. And actually, Kirsten's got to give up track space to the leader here. But yeah, this race is starting to run short here, and my goodness, that's just too bad for David because he had that position on the plate. So not a good day for Ferrari fans. So everyone's really spread out at this point, but all Ray has to do is keep the car going for a few more laps, and he's going to have another great finish. But Nilsson did benefit from that attrition. He's up to fourth now, so he'll get, if he stays where he is, he'll collect 3 points. But in the end, the same problem exists. Ray Riddall just gets further away each time, and he finishes ahead of Nilsson. And I'm sure Janik's really happy with fifth place. He's 5 places up on his starting slot. And Kirsten's up 6 places, actually, so he's had an excellent race, too. Drexler, if he hadn't had the incidents he had earlier in the race, he would probably be racing for 6th place right now. which is just too bad. So the only thing really for the Italian crowd to cheer is Del Piccolo driving the Ferrari engine Minardi.
Yeah, and there's no Ferrari left. That, well, in the points anyway. That would put Minardi ahead of Ferrari in the points.
Well, that's significant, because that is very close. If I recall, yes, Scuderia Italia with 29, and then well, Ferrari's not even in the top 5, so or the top 4. So, coming down to start lap number 50, there'll be 4 laps to go this time by. And this, of course, is a race that has only been going on now for an hour and 13 minutes. But it goes by so quickly because everybody's running at such high speed. Same with Hockenheim.
Oh, yeah, it's the shortest race of the season.
Yep.
It's quite handy for us if nothing else happens on track.
But we know better than to look away from the screen with a few laps to go, because that's bit us in the past. Something happens, but Bouchard doing the very best he can under the circumstances, finishing in second, assuming he keeps going. And another unfortunate result for team. I mean, he's much better than his results this year so far would indicate. Started out the season, I believe. Was he driving for Jordan, I believe?
Are you talking about
team? No, I'm sorry. I'm thinking about Bouchard. I'm thinking about the other McLaren driver. Since he took over the Senna drive at McLaren, he's been making serious hay, but unfortunately just not quite enough to catch Ray. Doing the best he can. The closest battle on the circuit is between Nilsson and Del Piccolo, but they're still very far apart, and I doubt he'll have any chance to do much about it before the race is over. I suppose Dallara being an Italian team is good for the crowd. Portugal will be an interesting race. I'm really curious to see the differences in setup there. Who makes the right choice? And I'm looking forward to driving the new Silverstone in my front-wheel drive Mondeo.
I'm sure you do.
Alessio's in the other one now, so there goes my chance to win to get any more class wins.
Well, a lot can happen in touring car racing.
He's just too darn fast. TDF. All right. So coming around now to start lap 51, 3 laps to go. Bouchard almost has a full lap on Del Piccolo here, actually. So now it's the second to last lap here for the leaders as they come through. The gap actually has come way down between Ridal and Bouchard. I guess Ridal is just figuring, well, I'll just take it off the boil now. But Bouchard is considerably closer now than he was a while ago.
Yeah, but I don't think he's going to get close enough.
No, he won't. Ridal is just being careful on this penultimate lap. But definitely Ray has found a car that he's absolutely comfortable with. Fits him like a glove. And he feels comfortable enough that he's taking it off the boil here before the end of the race and letting Bouchard get close, but not close enough that he can do much about the lead. Heading through Ascari for the second to last time. Down to the Parabolica, and look at that Bouchard running off there, but a lot of people have been doing that in this race. It's very easy to run off to the right as you exit that chicane.
Oh, yes, easily.
Very, very easy.
I'm not sure you gain too much stamina because you have to go over the curbs for it.
Yeah. And here we go. Final lap starting now for Ray Riddall, who's just made mincemeat of the competition here today. No one's been anywhere near close to him, except now, and it's just him, I think, just taking it easy. But we've seen stranger things in the past, so we're not going to call it done just yet. Janik moves out of the way of Bouchard to give him room, and Bouchard's definitely closer now. It's 0.6 of a second.
Oh, yes.
So if anything does go wrong,
in the final laps.
If anything does go wrong with Ray's car, Bouchard's right there ready to pounce, but I'm quite certain that Ray is just taking it easy.
Well, I wouldn't be taking it too easy.
Yeah, I know. I don't think.
Imagine if you get slipstream in the final turn.
I don't think I'd be letting him get this close, personally.
No, not would I.
I think he's tempting fate here by doing that. They've one more corner to go, but it's a lot closer than I would expect. He's in his slipstream by now. And coming out of the Parabolica is Ray Riddall, heading towards the start-finish line, and he's just going to finish ahead of Jules Bouchard. There it is. Ray Riddall wins the Italian Grand Prix. Jules Bouchard is in second, and it's going to take an awful long time for Gabriel Del Piccolo to get around. He's running third right now. He is way behind the first two, but a great result for Gabriel, taking advantage of the attrition during the race. And right behind him is Nielsen, who, if he continues, will finish in fourth place. But you're right, the fastest race of the year, definitely, at under an hour and 20 minutes. Looking from the chopper view here, here's Del Piccolo going through the Ascari chicane, now onto the back straight. All he has to do is one more turn and he's home and dry in the Ferrari-engined Minardi M191. Here he comes, and you can see Nilsson just behind him here. The Italian fans have this to celebrate, an Italian engine car, and Gabrielle is Italian. So there you go. Crosses the line to finish third. Well done. And here comes Nilsson to finish fourth in his Jordan. And now here comes Brian Janik with a very good drive to finish in fifth place for Dallara. Crosses the line. And Kirsten is already in the garage, having been lapped. He finishes sixth. Seventh, Mikael Drexler. 8th, David Watman. 9th, Richard Wilkes. 10th, Ruben Fernandez. 11th, David Saber. 12th, John Team. 13th, Grant Riddall. 14th, Cesare Slipinski. 15th, Giovanni Stentorami. 16th, Juha Bos. 17th, Jill Toe. 18th, Peter Hlavich. 19th, Francisco Amaral. 20th, Bruno Chacon. 21st, Jonathan Asserclinth. And 22nd and last, Simon Watman. So, that was the Italian Grand Prix, an interesting event, devoid of pit stops, which is probably the biggest surprise.
Well, unplanned ones anyway.
Yeah, definitely. So, we switch our focus now to Portugal, and again, I think you're right that the change in setup there, or the difference between one and the other, is going to be interesting. Definitely is going to make it a interesting race. Before we go off the air, I would like to repeat what I was saying earlier for those who didn't hear. Just an announcement regarding our league itself. our ISO server renewal is coming up on December 1st of 2024. And as most of you know, we are a non-for-profit racing league, and we rely entirely on donations to keep our server running each year. So if you enjoy racing at ISO, and if you enjoy watching our broadcasts or our podcasts, or just in general like what we do and enjoy it, we would urge you to please consider donating so that we can keep our server running in 2025. And it's easy to do. All you have to do is go to our main website, internationalsimracing.org, and then on the header there where it's circled in red, there's a donate tab that'll take you to a PayPal page that donates money directly to our account. And that account is where we take our money for the server each year. Whatever you can give, no matter how big or small, will be greatly appreciated, and we thank you again for your support of ISO. And we're really looking forward to next year as well. It's always like Christmas morning in January when we get to start a new series. But in any case, thank you, Juha, for joining me in the broadcast booth.
You're welcome.
And that was another fantastic race. We'll see if the same script continues in Portugal. Will Ray be able to continue his march towards the championship? We'll find out. But until then, this is Jason White saying so long from Monza, and we'll see you on our next broadcast. Everybody, take care and be safe.